Come hang out as I compare Apple's M1 13-inch MacBook Pro against the new M2 13-inch MacBook Pro. Welcome everybody to Apple Insider. It is Andrew here, and you can find me on Twitter at Andrew_OSU. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and subscribe and enable those notifications so you don't miss a single video. I've got two laptops with me today. One is Apple's 13-inch MacBook Pro with the M1 processor on the inside, and the other is Apple's 13-inch MacBook Pro with the M2 processor on the inside. So let's hang out for a bit, and I'm going to walk you through the differences between the last generation and current generation machines, the different specs, and run through some performance benchmarks testing out both of these chips. So as I said, I've got both laptops here. This one is Apple's M1. No, this is Apple's. Hold on. Which one is which? Can I get some tape? Okay, yeah, that's a whole lot better. It's a little bit easier to tell which machine is now which machine. Obviously, this is the M2, and this is the M1. Okay, so clearly these things are very similar looking machines. In fact, they're identical. If you were just sitting there with both of them on your desk, like me, you wouldn't be able to tell them apart without going into system preferences or about this Mac and determining which one is running the newer silicon. Because otherwise, Apple hasn't changed any of the hardware. All this stuff is the same. So Apple still has a 2560 by 1600 display with a 227 ppi and 500 nits of brightness. There's still a touch bar down the back of the machine, despite Apple discontinuing it on all other models. Apple still only has two USB-C Thunderbolt ports there on the side. All of that is the same between these two machines. If you wanted a redesign, you have to look at the 14-inch MacBook Pro, which has a bunch of other benefits, including Apple's M1 Pro processor or even the M1 Max. But in terms of the 13-inch MacBook Pro of M1 versus M2, these machines are nearly identical in every way, except for a few key internal changes. One of the differences with the M2 MacBook Pro is going to be with SSD speeds, especially if you're buying a base configuration. So if you have the 256 gig M2 MacBook Pro, you're likely going to see slower read and write speeds in comparison to the M1 MacBook Pro. What's that actually mean? Well, we were seeing speeds around 3,000 megabytes per second for write speeds and around 2,200 megabytes per second for read speeds. But on the new MacBook Pro, I'm only getting just about 1,400 megabytes per second on those write speeds and about 1,400 on the read speeds. So we're seeing drastically lower speeds, both in terms of write and read speeds, though write is taking a particular hit, really dropping down by almost half in some of these readings. So it's pretty crazy. So as you're transferring files to the machine, copying off, or opening large files, you definitely can see some slower load times as that's happening. If you're not doing anything with too big of files or accessing things really quickly, it may not be as big of a deal. I think the bigger thing is don't buy the base storage model if you can avoid it. Just the 256 option is just never a good choice. You're going to run out of storage very quickly. I would always recommend jumping up to the 512, the 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, anything like that, because the base configuration, it's just never a good option. And those higher storage configurations are still using the faster SSDs, so you're going to get more storage and it'll be faster. I should also mention that Apple did change the power adapter that's included in the box. My M1 MacBook Pro, it came with a 61 watt USB-C power adapter, while the new M2 model, it came shipping with a 67 watt USB-C power adapter. It didn't really make a big difference in terms of charging, but hey, I will take any extra power I can in charging up my laptop. So let's talk about the M2. It's really the only thing I care about is the difference between these two machines, because it's the only one that's going to make a real difference in how you're actually using it. Now, if you do want to know more, like really deep dive stuff into the M2, check out my other video because I did do a dedicated one that specifically looks at the changes to the M2. Here I am going to touch on a little bit higher level, but how it's actually coming out into play and the performance differences between these two machines. So starting off, the M2 and the M1 both are using a 5 nanometer process. These new Apple SoCs are very similar, but Apple has increased the clock speed of the M2. So each of those cores is going to run a little bit faster. It's still an 8-core chip, but it packs 4 billion more transistors in the M2 than in the M1. Again, giving us some higher clock speeds. The other difference is that Apple has a 8-core, 7 or 8-core GPU with the M1, the MacBook Pro. It came with an 8-core GPU. The new M2, it comes with a 10-core GPU. So we have 2 additional GPU cores on the M2 for the latest generation 13-inch MacBook Pro. The other biggest difference I think that I want to mention is that there's an increase in memory bandwidth. Apple has drastically increased the memory bandwidth of the M2, allowing to support not just 8 and 16 gigs of memory like Apple did with the M1, but you now have 8, 16, or 24 gig configurations of memory on the new machine. So you can outfit the 2022 13-inch MacBook Pro with the M2 processor with up to 24 gigs of that unified LPDDR5 memory. That bandwidth is now at 100 gigabytes per second, which is about 50% more than the M1 had. Finally, Apple's added dedicated hardware, accelerated video encode and decode engines to the M2, including for ProRes video production. Now, let's go ahead and see what this actually means in terms of using the laptops. And the first one was my favorite test, which was the video export test. So I loaded up a 20-minute 4K video inside of Final Cut, applied a few edits to it, a few color adjustments, and then I exported it for Apple devices in 4K. On the M1 MacBook Pro, it took almost exactly 20 minutes to export that video in 4K. When I turned to the M2, it managed to get it done in half of the time. That's right, it only took around 10 minutes to export that video compared to 20 on the M1. If you were doing any video production on your 13-inch MacBook Pro, you could see almost twice as fast exports depending on your project and resolutions that you're exporting in. With those new dedicated video engines, I was pretty excited to test a Final Cut Pro export to see how much of a difference there was. And I think for the target audience of the 13-inch MacBook Pro, there isn't a huge difference. I was actually a little bit disappointed. So I loaded up Final Cut Pro on both machines, and I pulled in a 4K 20-minute video. I added a few edits, adjusted the color a little bit, did some color grading, and finally exported it as a 4K project. Now on my M2 MacBook Pro with those fancy new engines, it took about 10 minutes to export that project. I then did the same project here on my 13-inch MacBook Pro with the M1 processor, and it took 10 minutes and 14 seconds. So maybe a few seconds longer than the M2, but not a huge difference. It may make more of a difference if you're working in ProRes, but I still don't think there's a huge difference between these two. You're going to see a bigger differences with just the improved GPU cores on the M1 Pro and M1 Max. These are still both for light video editing, not anything massive. And when you're looking at stuff on a little bit of a smaller scale, the performance improvements they're not huge. Looking at Geekbench 5, my M1 here, it scores about a 1750 on the single core test, and it gets about a 7700 on the multi-core test. Those are decent numbers. I was pretty happy with those when the M1 came out, especially compared to MacBook Air. They're a bit higher performance there. And when we come to the new M2, it is even better. Now with those higher clock speeds, instead of around 1750, I'm getting about 1930. So a good increase on that single core score. Multi-core also went up, of course. Same number of cores here, but now I'm getting about a 9,000 versus that 7,700. So almost a 1,300 jump in the multi-core performance for the M2. But what do those scores mean? I've been using the new M2 for quite a while now, and I've been using the M1 for, again, a bit longer as a secondary device. And day to day, there's not a huge difference in performance improvements. There's some, not a ton. I hope that makes sense. But opening applications, I feel like it's just a little bit snappier thanks to that improved single core performance, opening files, stuff like that. But you run into the other limitations, such as with the disk speed. But I think for actual daily use, it's not a big enough upgrade that I am pushing to it. We aren't seeing a huge jump in terms of video production quality. We're not seeing a big jump in terms of, opening applications and using the machine. The M2 is a good step forward, and I'm excited for what it means for the M2 Pro, M2 Max, M2 Ultra, all of those chips down the line. But if you have a 13-inch MacBook Pro with an M1 on the inside, you do not need to run out and buy an M2 13-inch MacBook Pro. This is a basic consumer level device, and Apple has added some nice improvements to it that make it a bit better, a bit more future-proofed. It's a good first step for the M2 series, but honestly, so far, I just haven't been hugely impressed with what it is offering. Coupled with the fact that Apple did decrease speeds on those entry-level models, it's just not a big enough upgrade for me to really recommend it to anyone who has an existing model. In fact, I would still say it's okay to buy an M1 13-inch MacBook Pro if you find them on clearance anywhere or sale anywhere. It's still worth it. There's not a big enough upgrade here. There's no physical changes, same cameras, same screen, same ports. It's all the same. So yeah, pick up an M1 if you can find one on sale or clearance out, anything like that. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think these M2 improvements are enough of an upgrade, or did you hope Apple did more with the second generation of Apple Silicon? Or are you just really excited to see what Apple has down the line for the higher-end MacBook Pros, Mac Ultra, and the Mac Pro? Let me know down below in the comments or on Twitter at Andrew_OSU. If you do want to pick up either the M1 MacBook Pros or the M2 MacBook Pros, I've started gathering some deals, and I'm linking them down below in the description. So go be sure and check those out, and let me know what you guys think. Otherwise, stay tuned. I have more videos heading your way.